There she is.
And I think you saw the message. Sue is not going to be joining us. I haven't heard from Tabia. I don't know if you have.
I have not.
Not, yeah.
Okay. I see a new little envelope in my Outlook. Let me see if that's somebody. Nope, that's not her. Okay.
Catherine, are you on vacation at the beach?
I am.
Okay, well,
So I
Thank
said I
you.
was looking forward, but actually I lied. I was not actually looking forward.
thank you. Thank you for your dedication to housing equity and racial justice.
I know.
Well, it'll be brief because we only have till 7.
Yep.
And is it anyone but us?
It may not be if we don't know Tabia's status.
I've not heard anything from her.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
haven't
I don't
either.
have, I don't have an email or anything, so.
Guess we just begin, and then hopefully we won't be too far in if she does decide to join. But I think she's the only other person we'd be expecting.
Great. Okay. Well, then I guess I hereby call this meeting to order. Me and
Oh, look, Ernest joined.
oh, good.
Cool.
Great. Hi, Ernest.
Hey there.
Hello, hello, hello.
So for attendance, you could just say your names really quickly. That would probably be easy, just so we know who's on.
Okay. Catherine Lawn.
Mary Bauer.
Ernest Chambers.
Great.
All right. Anybody else here?
Ashley is of course with us, but and Lasheen is our host today.
Hello, all.
Thank you, Ashley.
We have 2
Hello,
members
Ashley.
of the public.
So we don't have much of an agenda. We've been just sort of figuring out what to do next after supporting the work to write to legal counsel in Charlottesville. And so I think the work to continue there is this is a short-term commitment to a pilot using federal money. And so as a commission, we should stay on top of it to make sure that this is moved into the city's budget and becomes a permanent line item. But that is down the road, at least a year or so before we need to start thinking about it. Does everyone agree with that?
Well, one thing that I think we could do is request, I don't know how this works, Todd, but I talked to somebody at the National Right to Counsel Center. I think that's what it's called this week. And he was of the view that the Dillon rule did not prohibit locality from enacting an actual ordinance saying you have a right to counsel. And I don't frankly know whether that's correct, but is it possible for us to request, a legal analysis from the city about whether we could actually push for passage of an ordinance versus just passing, having the money is great. Like, I think we should all be happy that we really made some progress, but I would love to see it enshrined in law if that is possible.
Yeah, I think that's totally possible. I mean, what you would do is you would write it as a recommendation to council. And I would suggest that maybe you couple that if what you're talking about, let's see, is also trying to add it as a line item in the budget for the future, you may want to put that in there as well, if that's what you're thinking about.
And of course, the council didn't approve the full amount that was requested. So I think it's, we could simply point that out, that this may certainly become more expensive over time as people kind of learn about their rights. So I think there's some I'd be happy to craft sort of a letter laying all of that out, since I've been, having these conversations.
That would be great, Mary. And I assume that LAJC will be keeping sort of statistics on what's happening, right? To show, because we have the DSA numbers leading up to the right to counsel. So it would be good to have the data once we have lawyers in place to show the difference.
Yeah, and how many people are turned away. That would be really nice to know as well, assuming that happens. I'm happy to circle back with them. I'm sure they'll do an excellent job kind of putting that data together.
Yeah.
Again, how much money did city council? Okay.
$300,000, but just for 1 year, right? And people, they have to hire people, and hiring people, when you get
That's
1
a
year.
lot of money.
I actually thought it was 3 years. Do I misremember that?
I was not sure that there was a 3-year commitment. That my understanding was, yeah, I could be wrong. I'll step back on that one and get confirmation.
Yeah, I just remember one of the reasons I was like, well, it's not forever, but it's, it's for a while, is I at least understood that it was 3 years, and I just could be wrong. So we should probably check.
All right. I will take it upon myself to find out about that.
So it's at 300,000 this year, 300,000 next year, 300,000 the following year, or 300,000 over 3 years?
No, it's definitely 300,000 per year. I just don't know that, if whether it's 1 or 3 years. So I will,
Okay.
I'll get the data on that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they're using rescue plan money for it. So
I'll craft a short letter and, circulate it for people's review.
So in thinking about, what else, I think what other role the Human Rights Commission can play, we've got our land use map and the planning work happening right now. And one thing might be to have Sunshine Mather and Dan, blanking on his name, the head of Habitat.
Rosenzweig.
Yeah. So they put forward a proposal sort of looking at the future land use map and making a few tweaks that is really based in equity. And that's, I thought maybe we can invite one or both of them to come talk to us about this. Their plans. We could also invite the consultants that have been leading this project to come talk to us to see what they're thinking. I guess one of the things I'm thinking about is one of our roles is to be a voice for the ways that something as boring as zoning is actually how we make structural change to dismantle the way white supremacy is built into our city. And so we can start being one avenue for giving voice and moral heft to the work that needs to be done.
Were you proposing a meeting with Sunshine and Dan with a housing committee or the full commission?
I think the full commission. I mean, they could come to the housing committee and then to the full commission. We could have a smaller meeting with the housing committee and sort of pin down like what they think we could do. We could, I don't know. What do you guys think?
This is the planning commission people?
No, Sunshine Mather is the executive director of the Piedmont Housing Alliance, and Dan is Habitat, and they sort of got together, they looked at the map, right, and they said, here's kind of an overlay that maybe slightly improves things, and I feel like we need to do work to build, there's a pretty concerted NIMBY opposition to making change, right? Nobody wants anything in their neighborhood to change. Since from my perspective, their neighborhoods were constructed specifically to enact segregation, right? Maybe it's going to have to change, and we need to get that chorus of voices the way that Andrea Douglas and Jelaine and other leaders in Charlottesville were able to get everyone to see why removing statues was more than symbolic, right? And I think we need that kind of groundswell from every, direction in Charlottesville.
I totally agree. I think this is such an issue of equity and racial justice. And, the more people frame it as like neighborhood charm or, whatever it is, like, I think we need to be a voice sort of in response to that, or, a different voice. In terms of like the process, I think we could, if we talked to Sunshine and Dan, sort of like talked about what they might present, I'm not sure that it needs to like go through another housing committee meeting. I'm just thinking like of how long that would sort of delay their coming and talking to us. So I don't know. I don't feel strongly either way. I really don't have a sense of how quickly this actually will move. I keep hearing, got to do this right away, but then, I don't really have a sense of how quickly it may move.
Yeah, it's not all that quick, but I do think, I think it would be fine to have them come to the full commission. So is it okay if I reach out to them and ask them if they're able to come to the September meeting? I think August is maybe a little too soon.
I think that'd be great.
Okay, and I can sit down if somebody else wants to come with me to sort of hash through what would be useful for them to do for us.
Yeah, I would love to know how we can support their work in doing that, because I know from kind of sitting in and kind of listening over Facebook to some of the planning committee meetings and things that they've had, it's very interesting. Kind of what you said about housing and just people protecting their neighborhoods and things like that. It's just really, and I'm thinking, there is nowhere else for Charlottesville to grow. And the other scary part about it is that a lot of projects that we're hearing about now have been talked about years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And what we're talking about now, to me, it seems like it's still 3 or 4 years down the road. So my concern is, this is not going to be a quick fix, but we need to put things in place that when we have an opportunity to get this done, we can get it done.
Right.
And I'm really concerned about what's out there that we might not know about that could derail what we want to do. What are the developments or projects that are out there that have been voted on, said that they're passed, and then, it's going to change the landscape of how we're trying to get affordable housing in Charlottesville.
Well, but to my mind, the biggest thing that is derailing the process is the ability to just slow everything down, right? Because slow it down, it's moving too fast, we need extra time, right? That means like nothing is actually happening.
Correct.
I do wonder if, in talking with Dan and Sunshine, the sort of other counterpoint to that would be like John Sayles, right? As the executive director of CRHA. And I don't know if he would be willing to sort of sit on a panel kind of with the three of them, because obviously CRHA and PHA right now are probably the primary new developers of subsidized and affordable housing. So I don't know if that's kind of what you're thinking about, like that sort of feel, like what is their vision to try to expand the number of affordable units in Charlottesville, but I imagine he would also be willing to talk with us.
Yeah, I mean, I think would be great. The question is, do we do it as a panel or do we bring people each month for a while? What do you guys think is most useful?
Well, I think you said it. If we do it over time, it slows up the process. So we bring them in and we can and just kind of bombard them with the questions we need to ask. Maybe that's a better situation.
I think it would be helpful because especially with, PHA also starting to work on the Financial Opportunity Center and the Housing Hub. And they're also a key partner in the TJPDC eviction prevention planning grant that's now going on. So like, I think that, yeah, having people in one room to sort of see how these things overlap is pretty huge.
So Todd, is there anybody else you think we ought to have?
I mean, you can think of a lot of folks, but I think in terms of from the development end, who has control of land right now, I think those are some of the bigger names.
Yeah.
From the whole like affordable housing navigation and like subsidy piece, that's a whole larger group, but I think those three folks would be good ones.
Yeah, and I have to say, I was thinking, I mean, I think the affordable housing subsidy, that's all super important, but I'm also thinking about sort of the bigger conceptual piece of what it means to have infill, right? What it means to allow fourplexes and small apartment buildings in what are currently R1 zone neighborhoods, with or without subsidies, right? The ways that lowers costs, even if it doesn't lower it all the way down to the minimum, right, as part of the overall planning picture. So anyway, I think maybe we start with those three and see who else we need to bring in.
And aim for the September meeting. Does that make sense? Because yeah, I mean, August is right around the corner. I mean, we're in August. So.
Sad news, Mary. It's already August.
I am just trying to keep up. So
yeah.
May I ask a few housekeeping questions of the committee chair? One, well, we did kind of bypass matters by the public at the beginning. Do you want to make sure that we reserve time? We've got 4 people from the public, and we didn't do the fun awkward mission. So.
Oh, did we do that at committee meetings?
Oh, you can. I put it on the agenda. Some committees like to do it. Some would rather forego, and that's whatever your choice. You are the chair of the committee.
Well, I think we've already missed it, so we'll just keep on going. I'm at the beach. I'm not sure I can do that now. So should we? Do we have any other business? Should we go to matters by the public?
I think that was it. I mean, we have a plan on sort of both of the issues that we're dealing with, and that makes sense. And I'd like to hear from the public.
And the only other added thing on the agenda, of course, was if you wanted to talk about any updates, I figured the housing committee was the right spot to talk about the draft ordinance for substantial equivalence of federal fair housing law. So that is still pending a review with Eric Steinecker over there in HUD, but it's up there. I don't think I may have copied Mary and Catherine on that, but I just wanted to make sure that it starts to be visible for the rest of the commission. So if you want to start reading it, there's a lot of other revisions in there in addition to the FAP stuff, but it's a big work in progress. So it may be good to start reading now so you can start to digest what all is in there. But nothing more to be said about that unless you had any questions.
Okay, I will start digesting. Yeah. Thank you for your work on that, Todd.
Yep. Thanks to Jenny and Lily too, because they helped.
Yeah. And I'm actually eager to hear from the public. if they have thoughts about where we should be headed.
So we have 4 members of the public right now. If anybody would like to speak, you can use the raise hand function. Brandon has raised his hand. And for those, if anyone's joined by phone, I don't think that anyone has, but if you do, it's *9 to raise your hand. But Brandon raised his hand first, so I'm going to give you the floor, Brandon. Hopefully this works. You should be live.
Great. Good afternoon, Human Rights Commission. I just happened to log on, and I'm just really enthusiastic that you all are thinking about learning more about the future land use map. And I would encourage you all to do a couple of things. One is, this overlay design that Dan and Sunshine and the Housing Advisory Committee with the city are talking about. Addresses a lot of the so-called concerns of some of the NIMBYs in terms of, their arguments for, will this provide affordable housing? Will this desegregate? And, I hope you all will support that idea. I think it's a really smart thing for them to do, and to include the overlay on the actual future land use map in some fashion rather than as a narrative. So that when they get around to those zoning changes, they'll have a lot more ground to stand on. What's exciting about this is it doesn't just desegregate neighborhoods, but it also protects existing Black neighborhoods from further gentrification and displacement. And I'm just really excited that you all will be learning about that. I would also ask that you all take a very broad leadership role on this question. I feel like the City Council and the Planning Commission are generally supportive of the idea of changing our zoning to roll back segregation and make some positive changes in the community. But I don't feel like our leadership generally in Charlottesville has gone out and made that case to the public. And while I know y'all kind of operate a little quietly, there need to be voices out there really selling this to the broader public and say, look, I know you don't agree with segregation. Here's how this is going to help. This is something that we have to do as a community, and just seeing that kind of leadership come from y'all could be really powerful. So that's all I have to say, and I hope y'all have a great evening.
Thanks a lot, Brandon. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
And it looks like Adrian Dent has their hand up. I'm going to give you the floor. You're live.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate the non-gender specific use of the pronoun. My name's Adrienne. I go by with she, her pronouns, but I don't know. Can you see what I typed in the chat? That's kind of, usually those features are disabled, but I was just, no, you can't see. Okay. Basically, I just said to when Catherine was raising that suggestion, well, I echo everything that Brandon just said, basically. And when Catherine I'm relatively new to all of this, and I actually was looking forward to hearing you all do the mission statement out loud. That was like coffee at the meeting or something to hear that.
We'll do it soon. We'll do it at our next full commission meeting.
Got it. Okay. But yeah, so the exploring the notion with Sunshine and Dan, what they've come forward with the overlay design. I attended the last Affordable Housing Commission HAC meeting. And it seems like part of the deal in the allocation of funds to explore affordable housing more, and the kind of policy that's gotten us to this point and where to go is oriented toward kind of understanding the past and how the past has situated the city in its current position, and kind of can only move forward in making a design and a proposal with that information. So I think I agree with what Brandon's saying. Like, I'm not, as I've been tuning into this, like yeah, there are the NIMBY voices, but people aren't really getting the relationship to place in the housing planning process, and especially when equity is being like centered as the word in this FLUM process. What does equity really mean? And I think this is when your voices can be heard and maybe be unified. And like equity is also about justice, and there's a justice issue here. So what does the kind of reparative, restorative justice look like as we change policy around housing and zoning? And there's not much going on, I think, so you're kind of trailblazers in this if you choose to go in this direction and really espouse what Sunshine and Dan are probably believing but not saying so explicitly. But I can't. Maybe I'll email you all a link that Arlington seems to have done something in 2020 that takes the lens of equity and human dignity and applies it to different aspects of policy. And there are a few pages around housing in particular, but you might be interested in the whole thing. So thanks. I probably overdid my 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was really helpful. Thanks so much.
If no one else would like to speak, we can move forward. No hands are raised.
Okay, well, thank you to the 4 of you attending, and to those of you who spoke. It sounds like we have good support for our role, at least in being voices in this process. And I think maybe one other thing we can do, and one thing I was hoping to get at with Sunshine and Dan and whoever else comes to our meeting, is also this process is incredibly complex. And I think a lot of folks are having a hard time finding a way into engaging with it. And so if we can maybe start giving people concrete tasks, here are things to say, here are places to go say them, here are votes to encourage, whatever it is, that could also be useful for the community in helping this process move forward.
Catherine, I'd echo that. I mean, I think that, just as when people are trying to, say, apply a voucher or navigate the affordable housing market, it's very complicated. The math is complicated. The markets are complicated. The systems of subsidy are complicated. And so I think you all, the commission, could do an amazing service as navigators to understanding public policy, right? Like, if you can digest what is going on and then translate that into actionable things that people can actually go to a meeting and raise their voice about a specific thing that you've helped them become aware of, I think that would be extremely powerful. So I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah, I just want to echo, I think there's like a lot of really important work that needs to be done in this space. And to the extent that we can be a voice for equity and racial justice and analyzing, all of these proposals through that lens, I think, my view is kind of the more the merrier, that people need to be looking at this and working on this.
Another question, Chantel used to sit as sort of a liaison from the HRC on CLIC. Is anyone currently from the HRC, Mary, that you're aware of on CLIC?
I am not aware of that. I don't know. I don't know.
A good thing to reach out to Emily and Elaine about, because I think that there is kind of a void there, and that was a good connection because Chantel could bring us updates and things like that. And I can't sit on it.
Yeah, I need to reach out to Elaine, I think, about the right to counsel stuff, so I can certainly ask about that as well.
Okay, if there's no further business, I think we can go ahead and adjourn our meeting a minute early. Great, thank you guys. Thank you, Todd.
Thanks, nice seeing you all.
All right, thank you.
And members of the public, if you want to stick around, there is another meeting coming right up at 7, hopefully, if folks are on time. So see you there, and we'll be hopefully adjourning at 7:30. These are short meetings.
Hello.
Hey, Jessica,
Hey Todd, how are you?
you were in a meeting with 3 logos for a second, but here's one person.
Yes, was three
We got 2
logos.
attendees from the public, Brandon Collins and Molly Conger are with us.
Okay, thank you.
Glad you're here. Good to see you.
Yeah, I don't know if the rest of the ad hoc committee is going to show up, but
Sounds like Jeanette was on the road and potentially going to try to make it. Lindell was kind of in the same boat. And I haven't heard from Andy. Andy was on previously. Was there anyone else who was on this committee previously?
I thought that was it.
Okay, that was kind of my memory as well. So it might be might be just us.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the agenda all the same.
Okay.
I guess folks, we scheduled it pretty early. I was wondering if maybe folks hadn't figured out their schedules when we had lined this up, so that could be what's
Yeah.
going on. And since you're here, you had expressed some interest in doing outreach with me tomorrow at South First Street.
Oh yes, I couldn't remember. I thought it either had passed or was coming up. So I was like, you're going to tell me tonight. So
It's coming up.
yes.
It's coming up. So good. Yeah. Yep. I hadn't forgotten you on that. And
Okay. And what time tomorrow?
It will be, I'm pulling up my calendar here, 3:30 until, what's it say? 3:30 to 5:30, it says. It may be more or less time, but that roughly that's what it will be. And I think it, was proposed by the organizers as a bit of a kind of a community cleanup a little bit, because it seemed like folks might have been interested in that, but also, sorry, my phone's ringing. But also just time to table. So so the brochures that I've stuck on the end of the packet, and I tried to incorporate all the revisions that y'all suggested, but those are all printed off and ready to go. So we'll just have a table there as well. So should be interesting, fun to talk to people. I'm still working on ice cream. Haven't got it yet, but I got a response, but I haven't gotten the ice cream commitment.
Ice cream, yeah, okay. What kind of ice cream?
And here I am like putting my friend on the spot here, but Ben and Jerry's, I know the owner over there, and he's been very, very generous for past events. We've done West Haven Day and
Okay.
some things at South First and Mickey Drive, and so he's been very kind in the past.
Okay, will you email me the details?
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Do you know where
So
South
do-
First is?
May
not. If you've not been over there,
Yeah.
I'll send you some instructions too, or
Yeah,
maybe a
yes,
little
yes, please.
link for a Google map or something.
Okay. Just want to check my schedule tomorrow. Okay, I have something that should be done. Okay, so do we need to call this? Do we, can we still move forward if no one else is here, or do we
I mean,
just
you can-
postpone?
You and I can talk for as long as you want, but
Okay.
typically what happened when other committee meetings have been called and only one person shows up in addition to me and those hosting, is that we just don't call it to order and postpone.
Okay,
That's
okay.
kind of the way of it.
okay.
So we
Well,
can do that.
Okay, let's make the executive decision. And I see Ashley's on, so hey, Ashley, and
Ashley's here, yes.
hey to our participants in the audience, but we do now have an outline for proposed template for commission statements, and I guess we could talk more about that as when we come back, but do we have any updates about the email addresses and then the Facebook account?
I don't have anything new on that. Maybe we can hear, I don't know if Ashley knows anything, but I have not heard anything new.
I have not heard anything about it. I'm happy to go back to our IT team and see if there's a particular sticky wicket. But we have asked, they have said yes, but I have not heard anything. So I guess the lemonade out of the lemons moment is I haven't heard anything that says, no, you all aren't getting them. I am curious if maybe they were looking to try and see if council will end up approving you all as hybrids and then issue them, or I'm not sure, but happy to go back to IT and just give them a little push.
Okay,
And I'll circle back with Joe Price about the Facebook, because I think there was a dilemma that it had been taken down and now was not retrievable. And I'm not sure if they were able to figure that out. That's beyond my skills. So there you go. And if I guess if need be, we'd just start a new thing.
okay. All right, well, I don't want us to keep on and save everyone else's time. Were you gonna still send me the magnet, or is something you've already put in the Google, the box folder?
Well, we have a big stack of magnets at this point. I don't know. Did you want to redesign it? I mean, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, I was thinking to redesign it, but I wanted just to, can you bring one tomorrow so that I can just have
Oh,
it?
yeah, bring a stack of them tomorrow because we'll give them away.
Okay, because there were some action items for me to do, but that was one of them.
Okay. I don't have
So-
like a design. I don't know where it came from. I could take a picture of it, or I can just give you one and then you can look at
Yeah,
it.
just give me one, and then that way I
Okay.
have a framework, because I was like, oh, this is my action item to redo that, and I was like, well, I don't even know what the original, I remember you showing it to me, but I couldn't remember the specifics. I'm like, I don't know what it needs to say, so I just
Yeah.
had the other one, I can redesign it, no problem.
All right, sure. I'll bring it and you can take a look at it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, I guess we will postpone this and see everyone, and this month is not in person, right?
This month
next-
is not in person,
Okay.
and I'm not 100% sure if next month will be, given all the changes in the
Changes.
Delta variant and so forth. So to be decided, and I will, once I get word on it, I'll let you know.
Okay, all right, always good seeing you, and then I look forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, should be fun. Good to see you. Take care.
Bye.
So Lasheen, I think we are done. We had an extremely short couple
Oh,
of
that
seconds.
was extremely short.
So thanks so much for hosting us, and
No problem.
I guess we are out. Thanks Brandon, Katrina, and Molly for hanging in to the end.
Thank you all.
Take
See
care.
you next month.
Bye.
Bye.